Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another The Sports Scoop video. Today, man, and who would have thought we're coming back to it? Quickly move the camera. We are doing, or I am doing a 2022 NFL mock draft. I know it's very early. We haven't even seen the 2021 rookies play yet, but nevertheless, I want to get to you guys content, everything. You guys absolutely loved our mock draft last year. It's a very popular topic, and I always love kind of diving in to a subject that I find very interesting, that I know a ton of NFL fans find very interesting. So that's what we're gonna do today. 2022 NFL mock draft. As you guys know, we will not be. This isn't gonna be a thing where we're gonna like completely overkill it and do several a week. We probably won't do another. I think until probably start of the season again, maybe one more. But don't worry, we're not the kind of guys who would just want clicks, want that. We're not gonna be doing this a lot. So this is kind of one of one. We haven't had much things to record, so I thought, why not? Let's do a video. But let me quickly. Obviously, we will have more. Kind of, how do I say, more kind of professional mock draft, I guess, not kind of just kind of thrown together like this, obviously fully edited mock draft, stuff like that. So we will have some very, very good videos. Do make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. But let's get into the pick. So obviously this is all projected. They're projecting the Lions have the first pick and the Texans have the second. And then the Jaguars have the third. Obviously, you can see on the left side here. But going number one. So, and again, I just want to read it. I do not know, not even close to all the first round talents. I know most of their names. I know a rough thing. I know the top 10 and then some players below. So do please excuse me if I do not get everything completely correct. I will obviously do my research and will be an expert by the time the draft comes around, or even by the time the season comes around. So do make sure that you do not hate on me too much for that. But Lions number one. I think this is a very interesting pick because I think this is gonna be if um uh Jared Goff good. And what I think is kind of just really good is obviously number one, they have Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon. Been waiting to say that name on a video. Very, very I like the name a lot. Edge of Oregon. And I think it's great to see is last year we did not see an edge. There was a very poor edge class. The best one was in the 20s. Not that dominant edge class which we've seen. Now we finally have that in Thibodeau. Obviously, you had Chase Young and Nick Bosa and Myles Garrett, all those previous where you have that one amazing edge. Here's the thing. I'm not going to predict that Jared Goff's going to be amazing, so I'm going to go with Oklahoma quarterback Spencer Rattler. Look, this guy's really talented. Zach Wilson comparison, even though he hasn't played great at off-platform throws. Problem is he does kind of move out of good pockets, has a good pocket, and then, tries to get out, get sacked, lose the ball. But this guy, I think, will probably be the number one guy. I think Thibodeau is the most talented guy, as we've seen from those edges, but obviously quarterback is more valued in the NFL. Let's hope Jared Goff play well, but I think Spencer Rattler will be the pick. Now looking at the Texans, I think this is going to have to be a quarterback at the end of the day. And I don't want to be again, I don't want to be the classic just go with the most easy picks or the ones that everyone thinks. Again, I could see other quarterbacks going, but obviously the two best ones are, as I said, Spencer Rattler and now Sam Howell. So I'm going to assume that the Texans quarterback room is not amazing and Davis Mills is not their number one guy. Again, maybe he is, but Sam Howell, I'm going to go with here. Again, I just want to go with the safe selection, with the selection that this franchise will most likely need. I think Sam Howell is that. Again, a guy who's very compared to Baker Mayfield, kind of has that size, has gotten very good protection in North Carolina, had a lot of weapons, obviously Diami Brown, Chaz Surratt, Javonte Williams. So I think he'll go to the Texans here. Obviously, we don't know the Deshaun Watson situation, but it does not seem like he's going back. Now the Jaguars, this is a great pick. This one's a tough one because you're looking at Derek Stingley on the board, who I absolutely love from LSU, probably one of my favorite corners ever in college. I loved him since he was a freshman. I've been saying he'd go to the draft when he was a freshman. Obviously now he's a junior, and again, he may stay at LSU for another year. I doubt it, though. I think he has a talent. But I think that they go and get the most talented player in the draft here at 3, and I think they're very happy. Obviously, Clavon Chason didn't really work out. We'll again see in 2020 or 2021 if he is that guy for them. But I think Thibodeau is a talented player. I think he at the end of the day, just has everything in edge, and he's really good power moves and very good at getting to the quarterback. And I think if you're a Jacksonville team, that is what you need. But moving on now, the Eagles are in a bit of a pickle. Obviously, I think Jalen Hurts will be their guy. I think he'll be completely what they need. I think he'll be good enough for them. And you're looking at Derek Stingley on the board, a secondary in Philadelphia that is not great. Obviously, Kyle Hampton, the very good safety. I think maybe cornerback hybrid from Notre Dame. But what I would look for here is maybe a receiver. Obviously, you have Garrett Wilson, both Ohio State, and Chris Olave. This one is definitely a tough one, because you're looking, do they have a good quarterback? But I'm gonna go for the pick that probably most likely will be the biggest impact. And I think it's Derek Stingley. Again, this is a guy we've seen corners struggle recently. Obviously, we'll see with the top ones this year in Patrick Surtain, and JC Horn. But I think Derek Stingley is one of a kind. I mean, this guy really has no holes when looking at his tape. Really good press coverage, which is incredibly useful. Good man to man, probably one of the better man to man corners we've ever seen come out. He'll be number 7 for LSU this year. We know, the history behind that number. Just a really, really talented corner. We know what corners and secondary players LSU pumps out. I think Derek Stingley would be phenomenal, and especially for an Eagles secondary that now isn't good going into the season. I think they will need an upgrade. Again, quarterback could be a very, very viable option. I think Hurts will be able to do it. But again, it's an early mock draft. We're completely, kind of picking in the dark here. So again, do apologize for that. But now you have the Bengals up again. Who knows? Toughest division. They could end up last again. I think, they most likely will. And here you have Evan Neal, Alabama, huge tackle who's really good at blocking for the run. Mixon's been getting injured, but as well, you haven't drafted amazing tackle. You obviously didn't go for Tevin Jenkins, and then they ended up getting Jackson Carman from Clemson this year in the draft. So I think that will be the pick. I think, again, protect Joe Burrow. I know when this draft happens, it'll be 2 years since the terrible injury, but I think you get a phenomenal tackle. I really want him to fall to the Giants as my team, but he'll go here. Great tackle, powerful, huge, very good for Alabama quarterbacks in recent times. He's a great tackle. He will solidify that position for the Bengals for the next 15 years. Now, Jets. This is a very interesting one because look, receiver wise, they've gotten a lot. I think Elijah Moore is going to be phenomenal, so it might not even be a question. But you have Kyle Hamilton here, and I don't mean to just be picking the best players on the board, but really you look at it. Marcus May will be getting up there in age. The secondary has been very, very bad. But then you have Christian Harris, who's a really good linebacker from Alabama. Obviously, Drake Jackson, the edge from USC, who I think could fit well. And it's looking at, well, let's see. I think it's I wish I knew what happens in the season. Obviously, I don't. But it's going to be, Salah always goes. He had a great edge in San Francisco. So I would think that they would go with this is a tough one. This is definitely a tough one. I think that they'll go Drake Jackson out of USC. Look, I think at the end of the day, the Jets have a great defensive line. I think if you plug in Drake Jackson, the line gets so much better. Again, let me know in the comments what you guys think, but I think that'll be the selection. That's definitely a tough one for me. I think Hamilton could easily be that selection, but we'll see. Now the Giants. Here's a tough one because I think Hamilton will fall again because you're looking at a secondary in New York that I think they have a top 3 secondary in the league. Whether they be good or not, they have the talent. We'll see in 2021 if they have that, but I think this should be a Christian Harris selection, linebacker, Alabama. I think we need that leader on the linebacking core, and I think he brings that. Obviously great tackler, someone who's been phenomenal for Alabama. Obviously we've seen the talent they pump out. The Giants like him. Giants like Alabama players, especially on the defensive line. Again, we'll have a great defensive line, but I think linebacking, if we can get another good linebacker into the Giants, that defense can become one of the better ones in the NFL. But now it is the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, they let go of 2 of their safeties, Devontae Kazee and Keanu Neal, to the Dallas Cowboys this recent offseason. I think they'll go Kyle Hamilton and get, I think, arguably a steal. Obviously, really, really long, versatile safety. I think hybrid corner from Notre Dame. We saw him complement JOK phenomenally this year at Notre Dame. Was good against Alabama, obviously, in the semis for the college playoffs, but obviously Notre Dame ended up getting outjousted, but who can really get mad at them for that? But again, I think this will be an interesting selection because the Falcons historically, or at least of recently, have not had a good secondary, really a bad one. So I think Hamilton goes in and shores it up, especially with the versatility he has. But now it's the Broncos. Look, this is interesting because you have Olave here who you could put in, and he could be phenomenal next to Jerry Jeudy, who I think will have a very good season this year. You obviously have KJ Hamler, who has potential to break out. And then you have an offensive line that's good. You just took a corner, so I don't think that'll be. So I think that they'll go, and obviously this isn't the position of Von Miller, but they'll go to shore up a defensive line into Marvin Leal from Texas A&M. Look, that defensive line is going. You obviously have Bradley Chubb, who's phenomenal, but if you can put a guy with the size of DeMarvin Leal into the middle of that defensive line, I think it changes the game for the Broncos. But now my New York Giants are up at 10. And this is again another tough one. But what I would like to see is them to go offensive line again. This could be another thing where they go Slovis and go quarterback. I think that would definitely be interesting. Obviously, I'm not sure where he is. Right here he is. He's ranked here. Slovis is Where is he? I just saw him. All right, never mind. But you, Kaon Green, size, really good for running game. Obviously, Saquon will have another healthy year. Hopefully, he stays healthy the full year. You obviously have Malik Willis from Liberty. Again, I think there is a very, very high chance that they go quarterback. I'm going to trust Daniel Jones, my quarterback for this year. Assume that he takes a Josh Allen like step that me and Charlie are so badly hoping he does. But if he doesn't, I think more than likely they may even trade up and go and try and get a Rattler or a Howell. But if not, they can go Malik Willis from Liberty or go get someone like Slovis from USC. But that will be the section. Now they have Washington at 11 projected there. I think this, if I'm Washington fan, is a little bit disrespectful, but nevertheless, we'll continue on. This again, I think you see a lot of at least this top 5 up here where they have. I mean, I wouldn't think they need receiver that bad. Especially Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, who are kind of the receivers that the Washington have. I think they need a taller guy, more of a target man in the red zone. So I'm going to have them go Khair LM from Florida. Look, the secondary is great, but is not aging. You obviously have Curl, but Kendall Fuller, I think, can need help, could use help. So maybe go get him. You obviously John Davis. Again, it's all about improving that defense, keeping it a top 5, top 2, probably top 1 defense it was last year. But with a healthy 49ers defense, you never know. So I think he shores up that secondary, get them a good outside guy, and that would make a lot of sense. But moving down here to the Las Vegas Raiders, John Gruden's average 500 team, and I'm assuming we'll probably go 500 again. Again, this could be do they go quarterback? I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to have them take Malik Willis out of Liberty. Look, Derek Carr's great. I think he deserves better and will most likely, I don't know. I just think we've seen the best of the Raiders. We've seen the best of Derek Carr and what he can do with the Raiders. I think you bring in Malik Willis, who is a really, really, really good runner with the ball, and I think can fit this more not West Coast, but kind of this. It's not West Coast, so well, it is, but a more. How do I say? A more. I don't even know. Just a kind of a younger quarterback, a more athletic presence to a quarterback room in Las Vegas. Again, I think Derek Carr is great. I'm not saying I think he's a guy who people don't talk about much, but he's a very good quarterback. Again, this could be a this could be a Olave or Garrett Wilson selection for the both Ohio State receivers because the Raiders don't have much depth there. But I think they may go for the more valued pick with Malik Willis. Now it is the Carolina Panthers. Is Sam Darnold it? I wouldn't think they would go quarterback this early. So this is a tough one. I don't think receivers the option. Tackles here, I think they'll go Charles Cross from Mississippi State. Look, they obviously tag Taylor Moton, but then they'll need to get a contract in. And if they can't, they're going to need to replace him and get his replacement. So I think that's where Charles Cross comes in from Mississippi State, shores up an offensive line that needs to be good because they have a lot of valuable things behind it in CMC and obviously now Sam Darnold. But the Vikings here at 14, this one I think could be great. And I think they'll go Olave from Ohio State. Look, Adam Thielen is 32, will be 33. He might even be 33, but will be older at the end of the season. Get his replacement in Olave. You got the replacement Stephon Diggs. I think that the Vikings can develop good receivers. You saw what they did with Justin Jefferson, who I think by this time next year will probably be a top 10 receiver, top 5 receiver. Olave's fast, good in the red zone, good hands, and he kind of burned that secondary. And I think the complement between him and Justin Jefferson will be great. Now it is the Cardinals. This one is another tough one, but I think that they'll go with edge and go with Carr Laftis from Purdue. They need a power rusher, and this guy kind of gives them that. Obviously, I know they got J.J. Watt. Chandler Jones might be holding out. He's kind of more of an outside guy, but I think getting him and putting him into that position would make a ton of sense. Obviously, you got Zaven Collins, but just packing that front seven with talent will make a ton of sense for a Cardinals team that is looking to be very good, and probably next year will be looking to be a Super Bowl contender. And I think George Karlaftis will do that. I'm sorry. Karlaftis. Got it. All right. Steelers. This one again, wide receiver Garrett Wilson. You never know because of Juju, but the Juju resigned. I think it was did he get tagged? No, he got 2-year deal. I'm pretty sure. Again, I apologize. I'm a bit rusty, but this is a tougher one. I mean, I think it would be very good. Obviously, they're not going to go running back. They just got Najee Harris. Bubba Bolden from Miami is great. This one, that's where I think they'll go. I don't know. I think that they'll actually go Seven Banks from Ohio State. Look, I really, really like this guy for obviously number 7 in Ohio State against championship. I think he has that size. He's kind of more of a skinnier, lengthier corner, but kind of a good outside guy for a Steelers team that lost a ton of their secondary. And I think will be a big problem for them going to 2021. I think they'll go look to shore that up with Banks from Ohio State. Talent's there. And I think obviously one of the best defensive systems, some of the best coaches in the league will be able to develop him very well. Let's go to the Patriots. Garrett Wilson. I think this will be a great, great selection. Look, they haven't really addressed receiver in the draft for I don't even know how long. I mean, they got Mac Jones, but they'll go and get his rival, not rival, but go get someone from his rival school. I don't know if that's not really his rival school, but guy that they face a lot in the playoffs in Garrett Wilson. Look, this guy brings a ton to the table in terms of route running skills. I think Mac Jones is going to need that. They obviously got those 2 tight ends, but if you can bring in a world class receiver, that sounds like I'm talking about soccer, an elite receiver in Garrett Wilson, I think that would be great in an offense that will be able to coach him very well. Now we have the Chargers. This one's really interesting. You're looking at Treylon Burks from Arkansas. I'm like, that would be very, very good to pair him up with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen getting up there a little bit in age, but then you're like, Isaiah Spiller's there. I don't know if but Eckler, I think Eckler would be good. But again, what if he's not? What if he gets injured again? I think that they'll go Zach Harrison from Ohio State. I really, really liked him this year. Someone who was, when I was watching, was a bit shadowed by Chase Young. Obviously, that was 2 years ago, but was a bit shadowed by him. Then broke out, or was not broke out, but was very good this season after Chase Young was drafted. Again, look, you have Ingram leaving will probably be this offseason, so that's already a hole. I think they'll go and get someone who can get to the passer with Joey Bosa on the other side, and I think Zach Harrison is that. Now, Cowboys. Another running back, no. I think they'll go Bubba. Again, obviously, they won't go running back. They won't go wide receiver. I think they'll go Bubba Bolden from Miami. Again, not only his name is cool, he's also a good player. They need to shore up a secondary that has not been good the past couple years. He fits that very well. Now, Eagles, go get another receiver. Go get another receiver for Jalen Hurts. Oh, this is their second selection. What is that? What is that pick from? I'm not sure where that pick's from, but obviously Arkansas receiver who is good. You obviously got Devontae Smith. Go get another guy who can shore up a receiving core that has not been great. They've been dropped. Obviously, now we'll see, again. It'll be another season, so we'll see another season from them. So it'll be another season ahead. But Treylon Burks makes sense now. Titans running back they don't need. We know why. Edges here, tight ends here, and tight end is an interesting one because you lost Jonnu Smith. Again, I'm going with need. I think they'll go with Jalen Windermeyer. They're killing me with the names. Weidermeyer, I believe, from Texas A&M. A lot of Texas A&M players, obviously Ohio State as well. Texas A&M, they're maybe not. Yeah, so obviously we Leal 2 back-to-back. Texas A&M should be good this year. The tight end, I think they need that. Obviously losing Jonnu Smith, he brings that tight end 1 role. We know how not how lethal, how important good tight ends are with Kittle, with Waller, with Kelsey, just how game changing they are when you have a talented tight end. They get a young guy here for the future. Again, again, this could be a quarterback, who knows? But moving on to the Colts. Spillers here, they don't need a quarterback. There's a lot of tackle. There's a very, very very packed tackle or offensive line class we saw last year. Also very, very packed edge class. Do they go edge? This is more, I mean, even maybe they go Riddler because Carson Wentz wasn't great. Maybe won't be great. And I might ruffle some feathers, but I am going to go. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go John. I'm gonna go John Mechie from Alabama. Someone who was completely shadowed. Because if you look at the wide receiving core from Alabama the past 2 years, they've had so many talents: Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. They've had just so much. Look, you bring in Mechie, who was great. Someone who I think is really, really good one-on-one to a Colts team. Again, I hope that they get that wide receiving core step up next year for Carson Wentz. But I think Mechie would be a great selection. Now the Jets, another second first round pick. Obviously, they will have a great future ahead of them. This one again, Isaiah Spiller's here. I think that might be the selection. Look, you traded for Le'Veon Bell, that workhorse guy who you hope to be there, or you are not traded for. You got him in free agency, or not free, in free agency because he held out. Isaiah Spiller's very, very talented. put him into a Jets team that hopefully Zach Wilson will be prospering off of already. You have a great receiving core and offensive line that is incredible on the left side with Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker, who you took, who I think will be good. And then you put Spiller behind them. That basically gives a ton of facets to that offense to be shooting on or firing on all cylinders in 2022. So I think Spiller is a good selection. Saints here at 24, projected pretty high. But this, I think, I mean, I think that this again is just kind of a tougher one, but I think they'll go Carson Strong, quarterback, Nevada. Look, maybe James Winston. He said he's the most hardworking quarterback if you saw that video. So hopefully he is, and maybe even he'll be good this year. Again, he's a talented quarterback. I don't think he'll be their future. Carson Strong brings a ton, and I think will fit a Saints offense that runs more of those deeper plays. Carson Strong, I think, fits that. Obviously, he has that strong in his name, so hopefully he has a strong arm. But now moving on to the Brown selection. This I feel like should be offense, and I think they'll go get a receiver, Drake London, USC. Look, Odell may not even be there this offseason. I think we've heard a little bit of trade rumors, but I think if he doesn't have a good season, he will most definitely be gone. Drake London, future guy, Jarvis Landry, as well as getting up there in age, so you'll get him. Now the Dolphins, they missed out on they've gone Miami. They got a Miami player in Jalen Phillips this year. They missed out on offensive line quite a bit. They'll go get another offensive lineman. Again, I do not believe in Tua, but if he's still there going into his third year, you need to protect him. And I think Zion Nelson brings a lot of that, a lot of size, and to that tackle position that is needed to a young offensive line. I know he only adds to that offensive line being young, but he is talented and is needed for this team. Now, Ravens, this is a tougher one. Give me Rasheed Walker, Penn State, another offensive lineman. You lost Orlando Brown. You haven't found a full-time replacement for him. You got Zeitler in the offseason, but I think that might be a problem. It is an offensive line that if you add Rasheed Walker will again be one of the better ones in the league. I think it makes sense. Lions, I think went quarterback, obviously. It's crazy I'm already planning this, but they went quarterback. They don't really need that. I think maybe they go corner because obviously Okuda's not there, but I think that they'll go Kingsley Enagbare from South Carolina, a defensive line that's not that good. And maybe build around Spencer Rattler, but I think right now it makes more sense how the board has fallen to go with Enagbare. Jeez, these names, I'll learn them. Now Packers 29. Give me a corner in Ahmad Gardner from Cincinnati. We know let me take him. We know that obviously not the turmoil, but obviously they lost that in the playoffs because of Desmond King, obviously Jair Alexander. But if you, I know they took last year a corner, but I think this is a tough one. I know Eric Stokes seemed like a reach. This might be another reach. I doubt they go corner again, but I think how the board's fallen, it makes more sense. But again, and we can even see them debating quarterback. So again, we'll see. But now the Bills. This is a tougher one. I think that their secondary is getting up there, age, especially their safeties. They'll go Jordan Battle from Alabama, someone who has elite size and is a big hitter. Even could, double as a hybrid linebacker. Poyer and Micah Hyde, two of the most slept on safeties in the league with Jesse Bates. But Jordan Battle, I think, will give them youth and give them a future in that safety position. So I think it makes sense. Look, now the Buccaneers, who are projected to be the Super Bowl losers based on this, which would be incredible. But you have a Breece Hall here from Iowa State. There's some good, but even quarterbacks here, I don't know. But they took Kyle Trask. I think this is a tough one. I think this means center off. I'm not sure, but I think that they'll go with a linebacker in DeMarvion Overshone because, obviously Levante David's getting old. They'll look for a backup. That's kind of shooting in the dark, very, very much so. But I think that'll be the selection for them going into 2022. Now, Chiefs. This is a tough one. CEH it's gonna be huge because I think if he's not playing well, maybe go get him. Obviously, they don't need a quarterback. We know why. I think the Chiefs will go with their classic kind of boring pick and go with Tyler Litterbaum. Obviously, they did great. They obviously addressed offensive line phenomenally. But that will do it for the mock draft. I hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, do make sure to subscribe. You guys love these videos. Drop a comment. I always love to talk to you guys in the comments down below and let us know what you think. Also, all social medias are linked in the description down below. If you made it to the end, congrats. And thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.